Welcome to T-RackS, a new dimension in desktop analog mastering. This tutorial will teach you the basic use of T-RackS and guide you through the entire process of making a real analog master. Double-click on T-RackS to start the program. T-RackS includes all you need to make professional mastering: a state-of-the-art 6-band stereo parametric equalizer, a classic mastering tube stereo compressor leveler with stereo enhancement, a multiband mastering stereo limiter. Click on the Open button to open your mix. T-RackS can open 16-bit stereo or monofile at 44K in WAV format for PC and IEFF or SD2 format for Mac. Click on Play in the transport area to play the file. In the transport area, you'll find all the controls you need to play your audio file. Move the playhead, insert loops, and also insert markers within your mix so you can jump quickly from one part of your mix to another. Markers can be selected and their position displayed in T-RackS in the duration display. Click on the bypass on switch to turn on the equalizer. You have 6 different band filters on T-RackS. Simply activate the help button on the console and all the T-RackS functions are explained individually with text and graphics. From left to right you have high pass filter, low shelving filter, low mid and high mid peaking type filter with high and low bandwidth selection, high shelving filter, low pass filter. Frequency knobs are at the top of the T-RackS equalizer and gain knobs are at the bottom. You can start applying equalization from low frequencies on the left. In this mix, you may want to reinforce basses, applying a low bottom with the low shelf EQ, and even add more bass frequencies, opening gain with the low mid filter EQ. All the modifications you make are displayed in the scope window of T-RackS on the right. The bypass switch on the equalizer will allow you to check the improvement you made in your sound. You can check the precise value of any settings in the current display of the equalizer. You can also fine-tune the knobs using arrow keys on your keyboard. You can mute each individual band by clicking on the band button between the knobs. You can finish the equalization now by proceeding with the other filters and adding more middle-high frequency and clear very high, using the high mid peaking and high shelf equalizer. An essential feature of T-RackS is the bypass function. You can check the sound at any time and compare it immediately with the original file. You can proceed now to the tube compressor of T-RackS, switching on its bypass on function. By default, the compressor will activate and you'll hear immediately a difference in terms of increased dynamic that you can check by clicking its bypass on switch. Like vintage tube compressors, T-RackS is a very soft knee compressor unit with no threshold characteristics. With the input drive knob, you control the compression. The analog VU indicates the level of compression on the signal in dB. You can control attack and release time by setting the appropriate knobs on T-RackS to the best value for your mix. You can always check the precise value using the current display on the compressor. vintage design stereo enhancement feature allows total flexibility on the stereo image of your mix. The bypass on switch on each processor lets you easily compare your settings with the original audio file. With the snap button, up to 8 complete T-RackS settings can be compared on the fly. The order of equalizer and compressor can be swapped by clicking on Patch Control. Once you're satisfied with your equalization and compression, you can add the final touch to your mix with the 3-band peak limiter. This makes the mix even louder by reducing peaks. Switch it on, and with the input drive knob, control the amount of signal that drives the multi-band limiter input. Unlike the compressor module, this one has an exact threshold point where it starts to limit the signal. If you drive more signal through the limiter input, more peaks will be limited and the sound will be louder. The analog VU shows the amount of gain reduction in dB. The intervention of the limiter is instantaneous. The release knob controls the time of the release phase after limiting. The overload controls limiting and clipping and the balance between them. Clipping can be set between hard and soft in the output section of T-RackS. You will also find the general bypass that bypasses all the sound processors, so you can evaluate the terrific increase in frequency spectrum, stereo and dynamics that T-RackS has put in your mix. In the output section, you have the top end of the LED meter, a high resolution and sample accurate digital metering. Open the complete pop-up meter by clicking on the meter button. You can choose between 2 peak hold characteristics, temporary and permanent, by clicking on the peak button in the meter panel of your T-RackS. If the original mix has left-right level calibration problems, just use the balance control. Use fade-in, fade-out functions to select fade curve profile and time, and you're ready to process your master. You're also able to save your settings in the presets window by clicking on the preset display. And you can even save your loop and marker position for instant recall next time you open your mix. Once you're ready, if you hit on Process, you'll be prompted for file name, and then your file will be processed at high speed. If you open the T-RackS preferences and you set on real-time processing, you'll be able to make a live mastering. Apply your controls in real time on the processed file while writing it.